keep an eye on this guy all the way back from when we saw him at the tryout. And wow, what a first game.
So, luckily enough for me, joining me tonight is Quantez Stiggers, probably the most exciting guy to watch in the fan-controlled football league, if you ask me currently. Usually, youth breeds inexperience, and inexperience affects performance. However, you are quickly proving that is not the case for everybody. So, how are you doing tonight? And once again, appreciate you joining me tonight.
I'm doing good, man. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for having me. You know what I'm saying? This ain't, let me see, how can I put this? This is my fourth time on a live interview, so hopefully it's a great experience for me today.
Absolutely. Wow, I didn't realize you were quite that fresh into it, but I mean, I guess they come fast and furious when you're performing the way you are right now.
Yeah, it should, yeah, because it's like, I guess it's levels to it.
100%. 100%. There is. We've talked about it several times on this channel before. There are kind of tiers to the way these things occur for you guys. So why don't you go ahead and start us off with a brief introduction in your own words, and then we'll get into detail as we go.
Gotcha. My name is Quantez Stiggers. I'm a defensive back from Atlanta, Georgia. I am 20 years old, and my mid-season stats are 5 interceptions, a pick 6, a fumble recovery for a touchdown, 19 tackles, and I think my defense is 4-4.
That sounds about right. Sounds about right. You have definitely had a hell of a season through 4 games so far. It's been tremendously fun to watch, that's for sure. It seems like every game you've got a big play coming for us.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So admittedly, information was kind of hard to find on you. So if I say anything incorrectly, please correct me. I do not like to misrepresent anything. So I'd rather not be incorrect on live stream. But on an account that I did find, your Huddle account that was attached to your Twitter, so hopefully this one's correct, it said that you actually attended a high school that went by the acronym BEST. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's actually the school name. It's called Best Academy High School.
Really?
It's in the west side of Atlanta on North Side Drive.
Awesome. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you played 2 sports in high school, correct?
I played 3. I played baseball, basketball, and football.
Oh, really? I didn't find baseball anywhere, so I was not aware of that.
You're probably not going to find that much because I was just basically out there just to have fun.
Gotcha. So was basketball and football your 2 main sports then?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. Was basketball something that you saw a long-term future in, or was it always kind of football for you?
So long-term wise, it's always been football, but basketball, I just did to stay in shape, just to keep myself busy because where I come from, it's a lot of stupid things that go on, like a lot of gangs, a lot of violence and stuff like that. So I try to keep myself busy.
Makes sense. Hey, you know what they say about idle hands? It's do they do the devil's work? I believe it is. So during high school, you were actually listed as a wide receiver, which kind of surprised me, even though you played primarily on defense. Did you enter high school as a wide receiver?
Actually, I entered high school as a kicker.
A kicker?
Yeah,
okay, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I played kicker. I didn't post any highlights because I felt it was embarrassing, but I played kicker 9th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade.
Gotcha. Okay. How'd you end up moving to defense full time?
When I grew, I had going into my junior year. I think I was 5'6", and then that summer going into the 12th grade year, I think I had jumped to, I think it was 6 feet.
Gotcha. Okay. So you were one of the bigger kids at that point, I imagine?
Yeah, I was bigger.
Gotcha. Okay. So the stats that I came up with anyway, hopefully these are correct as well. You had 46 tackles, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, 9 passes defended. This is your senior year. 3 of 8 passing as well. You were actually throwing passes as well.
Yeah, I was a quarterback.
Okay, so you basically played a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Also, I had my 11th. You got 11th grade year stats?
I do not have them right off the top of my head, but I could definitely find them. Um,
My 11th grade year, I led my region in interceptions. I think I had 6. And then, I won all region player of the year 2 times in a row for defensive back.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, I did not come across that. I apologize.
sorry.
But that explains a lot. I mean, I was kind of wondering how you were able to make the leap. Um, but I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you moved around and did a lot of things. So you're obviously an exceptional athlete. I mean, I didn't even get to the fact that you carried the ball 18 times for 127 yards and it's 2 touchdowns. You had 16 catches for 282 yards and 3 touchdowns. You helped out in kick return and punt return game. I mean, it was kind of insane to see all the different things that you were able to do during your senior season and ultimately as a high school player in general.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. My high school journey, I wouldn't say it was rough, but it was kind of tough because it was just like everybody was bigger than me. I really didn't take school serious until I took it serious too late. If I was to take it serious like early in my high school career, then I probably would have went D1, probably would have went D2, but I know for sure I'd went D1 if I was taking serious.
I could definitely see it. I could definitely see that. That is one of the things that we kind of see as a reoccurring theme. Unfortunately, is that decisions definitely do come back to bite athletes very hard when they make them at a young age. Unfortunately, so I apparently your age is listed wrong, and maybe you can correct me here. A lot of places said you were born in '97. Are you 23 or 20 years old?
I'm 20. I was born January 8th, 2002.
Okay, I was wondering. I heard the announcers multiple times say you were 20 years old, and then
Yeah.
everywhere I could find, for
I'm
some
going
odd
to talk.
reason,
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow. You just reminded me. I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow, so they can fix it because I know it's on the FCF app.
oh really? Well, they probably got it from Max Preps and places like that then, because it originated from there, or at least that's where I found it. But yeah. Anyways, that kind of was it threw me off a little bit. I mean, like I was like, man, 23. I mean, he's probably still pretty young, but I don't know about definitely the youngest player in the league. Speaking of which, if I didn't bring that up earlier, Quantez is actually the youngest player in the fan controlled football league. As we just alluded to a minute ago, he graduated high school in 2020, correct?
Yes, that's
And
correct.
2 years later, you found yourself in professional football. I mean, it's quite impressive, man. Quite impressive. Talk to me about your role offensively in high school, despite the fact that you were starting on defense. How did the coaching staff approach all that? Were you on a pitch count or?
In high school, I was just a raw athlete. Um, Coming from middle school where I played running back, it was just like it translated over to high school. So I played quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end, slot, outside receiver. I was the punter, the kicker. I played safety, linebacker, cornerback, defensive end, kickoff, kick return, punt return. Because where I went to a small high school, so it was just like you have to play both sides of the ball. If you don't play both sides, then there won't be enough people.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So when you were younger, did you prefer offense or defense?
See, it was kind of weird for me because um let me see how can I put this. When I first started playing football, I couldn't get the holes right. I played fullback, but I just couldn't understand the plays because I was new to it. But growing up, I people don't believe me when I say this, but I actually played nose guard all throughout rec ball.
Interesting. That is not what I've expected yet again. Man, you've played a little bit of everything, huh?
Right? Yeah, I got experience in everything.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So during high school, one of the things I came across as well is that you carried a 3.2 GPA, which most of the rest of us would probably consider that pretty good. For you, it's probably not perfect, and it seems like you strive for perfection in everything you do. Um, but it kind of displayed that you're not just one dimensional. You're not just an athlete. You're an intelligent guy. You've obviously got an ability to process information very quickly, which makes you a great defensive back. Do you believe this is one of the big things that makes you as good as you are today, or is it a multitude of things?
It's a variety of things. It was because basically as a defensive back, I feel like as a defensive back, you should be able to tell like what route the wide receiver is doing after 3 yards. If you can't find out what the receiver is doing after 3 yards, then you have some more like I guess homework to do. But I feel like as a defensive back, it translates over from the classroom to the field, from the field to the game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it makes sense that you're finding so much success because you're obviously finding a lot of success in the classroom as well. Did the thought ever cross your mind to play offense in college and professionally?
Another crazy thing no one knows. Um, I was going to the tryout as a wide receiver, but when I got there, it was just too many. It was too many wide receivers. So I felt like as an athlete, I know I'm an athlete, so I feel like I can go to defensive back and I can play the receiver as a defensive back. So I can play you as a receiver as a defensive back. I can backpedal, I can break on balls, I can go up for the ball, I can make the hard interceptions, the hard catches. I can do it. I can do it all.
Absolutely. Makes sense. So coming out of high school at 5'11", 160 pounds, you were a bit undersized in terms of weight. How were you able to adjust the way you trained and or ate and your diet that you added nearly 40 pounds of muscle in just 2 years?
Um, just well, I really didn't gain that much in muscle. I gained some of that in fat because I was in a depressed state coming out of high school. Well, after my father passed, after I graduated high school, that's when I went into my depressed state, and I didn't come out of the house for 7 months. So I guess I picked up a lot of weight from that. But now it's just like that fat has turned into muscle. So it's just keeping that positive mindset and putting whatever, like if I put my mind to it, I know I can do it.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. I was not aware of that. I'm sorry to hear about your loss. Um, so stepping into or out of high school into the real world, how did your recruiting process go at the time? And talk to us about where you ended up and how you made your decision.
So I had D1 looks, but it was just my ACT and my SAT score did not meet the requirements. My GPA met the requirement. It was just my SAT and my SAT score didn't meet the requirement. So Allen University offered me a scholarship, but I felt that I could go higher than NAIA. So I forgot who helped me out, but a D2 school called Lane College in Jackson, Tennessee. They helped me out. They offered me a scholarship for a ride. I went up there for one semester, and then my father passed, so that unfortunately caused me to drop out. I thought about entering the transfer portal, but it was just too late and it was too much on my mind. But now I'm back in my mode.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, as you just prefaced, you end up at Lane College. Lane is known as what is called an HCBU or HBCU. Sorry about that. Or for those who don't know, a historically black college or university. Talk to me about what it meant to you to attend a school like this that had such a high reputation in the area, given their ties to the Methodist Episcopal Church.
Yeah, I got you. I really didn't get to experience like that college athlete feel because of COVID. So like every other week they'll shut the campus down and make us go home. So I really can't like like truthfully answer that question, but my time when I was up there, it was cool. The food was good. The vibes were good. The team was good.
Gotcha. So you just kind of took the words right out of my mouth. Unfortunately, you landed at Lane during the ill-fated 2020 season. Unfortunately, that was the year COVID ravaged college football. How quickly after you arrived at the school did you find out about COVID starting to spread, and at what point did it become clear that it was going to affect your freshman season?
So at the end of like I think it was like 3 weeks before the end of the semester, I went to go get my helmet, and then they said, "Oh, you don't have to worry about your helmet because one of your teammates tested positive for COVID." And then after that, I just knew that the season wasn't going to be there for a long time. I don't think they played a game until the spring of 2021.
I was going to say I couldn't find any stats for you in 2020, so I just assumed that that was the case, that you guys had to push it off till 2021. So you did actually play spring ball in 2021?
I never got full pads. I was just in practice gear.
Gotcha. Okay. When you committed to play at Lane, it was under first-time head coach Vyron Brown. Brown was a former Grambling State player turned coach at a young age. How was it different having a coach that was fairly young running the show?
I didn't get that much. Like I didn't get to get a bond with Coach Brown, but I'm pretty sure if I'd got a bone with him, it'd have been pretty good
Gotcha. How come you didn't get too much experience with him, if you don't mind me asking?
because of COVID.
Really? Just because of that? Okay. How did you fill your time with the year off of football in 2020?
How did I say that one more time?
How did you fill your time with the year off of football in 2020?
Um, like I said, my man, I stayed in the house for 7 months. So out of those after those 7 months or 4 months, I was just working a regular 9 to 5.
Gotcha. So you guys returned in 2021 with much of the would-be 2020 graduating class due to the extra year of eligibility. Did the return of many seniors affect your playing time at all?
At Lane College.
Yeah.
No, I felt that I was going to be a true freshman. If I would have had the chance to play, like actually play at college, I was going to be a true freshman. I was going to be a 4-year starter for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. Um, Heading into the 2020 season or 2021 season, where was your head at? I mean, you talked about a state of depression. Were you already coming out of that at that point, or were you trying to still work your way out of that?
Coming into that year, it was just trying to stay positive and move on to positive things, like getting out the house more, making more friends, um, getting more communication with my brothers and my mom. It was just stuff like that.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, I saw that you did an interview recently with your mom on Mother's Day. That was pretty cool. I caught that. I thought that was kind of a cool touch. Are you still pretty close to your mother?
Yeah, of course. My mom hasn't missed a game since rec ball. Well, she hasn't missed a game in my life.
That's amazing. I could definitely say the same. Back when I played, that was years ago at this point, though. Um, After leaving college, did you immediately start pursuing professional football, or how exactly did all of that come about for you?
After I left Lane College, I was looking for some JUCOs, but it felt like every time I asked the JUCO coach were they full, they said they were full. So I was looking around. I was looking at the Rivals Professional Football League.
Okay.
Um, I was looking into it. I really didn't like it because I think you had to pay like a lump sum of money. When I discovered FCF, it was just like it was a free tryout. So I was like, oh, I guess it's not a money bank. I guess they actually looking for players.
Definitely makes sense. I that is something that we don't get to talk about a whole lot that Quantez just brought up. If you're not familiar with how a lot of these workouts work, they actually charge the players to attend. I'm not quite sure how exactly they get away with that, but there's a lot of these workouts that are charging. In fact, one of them being the XFL Showcase. They're charging, I believe, $250 registration fee that can be refunded if you end up making the roster and staying on the active roster. But it is definitely interesting to see all these leagues do that. I was not aware that the FCF tryouts were free.
So let me tell them something. So when you go into like the CFL and the XFL and all those big league tryouts, they already know who they want. Like some of those guys, they come to the camp for free. Like if you gotta go to a camp and you gotta pay a lump sum of money, don't go. Like just don't go because it's nothing but a money bank. They gonna get you there. They gonna tell you this. They gonna tell you that. They gonna tell you that. You're not gonna get enough reps. Only guys you're gonna see, like you're gonna see those big name guys, like the guys who went to the big universities and the guys who's bounced back from the NFL and stuff like that.
Absolutely. That's why a league like the FCF is so great. It's giving a lot of guys like yourself chances to play professionally, get on television, and show what you can do because obviously you belong at the professional football level. I think anybody denying that at this point is either blind or hasn't been watching because your stats are amazing through 4 games. I don't even understand how you're able to do all the things you've done so in such a short amount of time.
Or they could just be haters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My mama
absolutely.
always told me if you ain't got no haters, you're not popping.
Hey, you're not lying. You're not lying. Although I have a hard time believing that there's a whole lot of haters out there at this point, man. Some of the plays you've made are just insane. You saw it in the intro before, interception, fumble recovery for a touchdown. In this past week, you had a fumble recovery for a touchdown, and ultimately it ended up being the difference in the game. You basically won the game for your team late in the game, and yeah, it's amazing to see from such a young guy. I mean, like we always I personally always want to see what the young guys are able to do in all these leagues because I've always kind of wondered how football would fare if they didn't have the age restrictions on it like the NFL does and stuff like that. In your personal opinion, do you think that there are high school kids out there that could do what you're doing right now?
Of course, I try to motivate the people under me. Like anybody who's under than me, like younger than me. If you want to, I don't encourage it, but if you want to skip college to go play professional ball, go ahead, do it. You know what I'm saying? You only live once.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, how did you end up deciding to go to the FCF trial? Was you like you said, you just kind of stumbled across it and that was the best opportunity at the time?
So the crazy part is, I didn't sign myself up. My mom signed me up, and then 2 days before the tryout, I got a confirmation from FCF saying that I'm confirming my tryout. So that's how that went.
That's awesome. So she didn't even tell you she was signing you up?
Nope.
That's awesome. So, out of curiosity, were at that point prior to her doing that, were you even really considering like a professional league outside of, like you said, the Rivals League?
No, I had gave up on football. I was finna focus on 'cause I like fast cars. I like Dodges. So before this football stuff, I actually had a couple cars. I had a Chrysler 300C with the 5.7. I had a Charger RT. So basically, before I got back into football, I was just buying and selling cars.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh man, I wish we had talked about that off camera, man. I'm a Mopar fan myself.
yeah.
I've
I'm a
got a
big Mopar.
there you go. I got an '03 Neon SRT4. I know it's not V8s like you were messing with, but
It got
still a
them big
Dodge
turbos on it.
nonetheless. But anyway, we'll definitely have to have you back on sometime. We'll just talk cars. But anyway, following the hold on, let me get back to where I was at. How did you end up finding out that you had landed a contract with the league? I mean, after the tryout, I know I've heard from other players. I told you off camera, Justin Arth, a quarterback that was at the Atlanta tryout, specifically told me that he knew the moment he saw you playing that you were probably going to get signed. Did you know right away that you had a good chance? I mean, did you stick out from the pack that much at the time?
So, I think like every time I went, I think I at least won. Like I don't believe like if I went 20 times, I probably won like 17 reps.
Gotcha, gotcha. So pretty much at that point, you were damn near dominant.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty close with Justin. We've stayed in touch since I interviewed him a couple months ago, and
What
yeah.
number was he at the tryout?
Oh man, I think it was number 1.
Okay, I know who you're talking about. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, he was with the guys interviewing. He was interviewing most of the kind of the start of the tryout, but he's a pretty solid quarterback for sure. But anyway, moving on back to your career, tell me about having to mentally prepare yourself for basically playing on a different team every week. How is that? How do you go about preparing for that?
When like in the like when you get drafted every other like if you get drafted to a new team every week, you just so basically for me how FCF like how you win games at FCF, if the offense scores and the defense gets a stop and the offense scores against, that's ball game. Like I just feel like if you get that one stop, it's going to change the game.
Gotcha. So, in other words, next season, assuming you're back with the FCF, everybody should be drafting you first overall then,
Yeah.
or as soon
So
as
the
they
beast.
possibly can.
So like every draft, like almost every draft I had, the beast ended up driving the my defense, the heavy hitters.
I don't blame them. You also play with Cecil Cherry, who's a beast. I mean, I'm sure there's many other guys on that roster that I'm not aware of. Um, I think we just lost your camera there.
Am I back?
It's just completely black. Oh,
Is it
still
back on?
black. Huh.
Um, what I supposed to click? Cam?
Yeah, I think that was.
Yeah. What is it
Oh,
doing
that's all
now?
right. We can just do it without the camera for now.
Okay, cool.
As a player, do you like that aspect of the game, being drafted every week?
So after like I guess after the final week, everyone is on the like a specific team. So it's only 4 teams make the playoff. So I mean, if everybody keep doing good, then um, if I get only like I don't know how to explain it, but like if you get drafted, you have to just pray and hope that your offense will come through for you.
Definitely makes sense. Definitely makes sense. So essentially, you're just banking on, hoping on that you're going to stick with a team that has a
Say that
decent
one more time.
offense. I said, so you're banking on the fact that you end up with a team that
Hello,
has a solid offense. Did you catch that?
hello.
Can you hear me? I think we're having some technical difficulties at the moment. Oh,
Okay, cool.
that works. Cool.
We're back.
Yeah, awesome. So let me get back to where I was at. Oh yeah, so like you were saying, basically as a defensive player, you're more or less banking on the fact that you want to end up with an offense that can score points and uphold its end of the bargain, more or less. Gotcha. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you specifically about is I've spoken to a couple different guys who have played in the league. They're either former players, current players. Um, Obviously the FCF is all about scoring. They're very high octane. They want big plays on every play if they could. Many different guys have mentioned the fact that you can't exactly play press coverage like you normally would in like the NFL or the CFL. Can you touch on that fact for me at all and kind of explain to fans how that works?
So in the FCF, you can jam, but you just have to be 1 yard off.
Gotcha. So how does that affect your technique as a defensive back? Do you have to be more reactive off the snap?
yeah, it necessarily doesn't affect it. It really helps you because that's when you can work on your instead of taking like your patient or your read step, you already can go. You go if you already at 1 yard, you already get your feet buzzing. You have to get your feet buzzing. You shoot your hands.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. So for a player like you who's a little bit more aggressive, you like it. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I've spoken with a couple former players, like I said, Kevin Estime. He mentioned that he did not like it, which I was kind of surprised by. It kind of seems like one of the things that he said, and you'll probably like this, is that the people who are succeeding on the defensive side of the ball are a hell of a lot better than they actually look when it comes to this league. Because if they were in the NFL, if they were in the CFL, and they were allowed the same rules, they'd probably be dominating receivers.
Yeah, of course. That's in every league.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. I mean, if you're allowed to jam them at the line and press them and kind of get in their head, it's definitely going to help you. In another interview, I actually read or heard from a certain wide receiver. I cannot remember his name off the top of my head now. That you're an interesting guy to face because you're very humble, but at the same time, when you get a play on somebody, you'll let them know. So are you a big trash talker, or do you do it in a polite manner, or how do you approach trash talking?
The only reason I talk is to let you know I'm there. So like, if I've been quiet the whole game and then I make my play, I'm gonna let you know I make my play. Like for example, Terrell Owens. Like I picked off Terrell Owens this weekend. Um, Before that play, I tried to introduce myself to him, and it's like he ignored me. So I told him I was like, I'm finna pick you off. Like before this game, I'm gonna pick you off, and the ball's gonna be thrown to you, and we're gonna pick it off. And I did the exact thing at the end of the game.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Obviously, you see all the Eagles gear behind me. I rooted for T.O. at one point a long time ago. I actually made the claim we would make it to the Super Bowl when he made it to the team. We did. We didn't win, but that's beside the point. So, how is your interaction with him after you intercepted the pass? Did he want to dap you up or say what's up? Introduce himself after that?
Uh, at that point, like where I was at in my head, like mentally, I didn't want to dap him up. If he was to dap me up, I wouldn't want to dap him up because it's like I understand you're a Hall of Famer, but at the same time, I tried to show you some respect, and you didn't give me no respect. So I feel like respect goes both ways.
I love that. I like that a lot. That I approach life the same way. You give respect, you get respect. That's how it should be. Um, I've actually heard some reports about the way he's acted, but I won't ask you to get into it. Um, on another note entirely, though, while we're on the subject, what was your opinion of the big trade that went down over the weekend?
As a defensive guy, I really can't say nothing about that trade because it really has nothing to do with me. It's just like if I have to play the Knights of Degen, I just have to go out there and play my game the way I play it. I can't base my game off of what the league or the office is doing.
Makes sense. So in other words, what you're saying is the Knights of Degen's wide receiver group does not scare you currently.
Yeah, I fear God.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. There's only one person to worry about, and it's not on the other team, that's for sure. So I wanted to ask you from a player's perspective, what's your opinion on the power ups? I mean, give us a little discussion about that because I've had to ask you. It's got to be interesting from a defensive player's perspective.
When I first got in the league, I quite didn't understand it, but now, like that, I'm actually into going into week 5. Power ups are actually helpful because you can use them at any time. So it says like it's 4th and 1 on the 1 yard line, and y'all don't get the touchdown. Y'all can run it back for the progressive 5th down and get the touchdown. So yeah, I like it. I like it. I like when you can flip the field. I really don't like the comeback rule though. I'm not too like big on that comeback rule because it's like, let me see what week that was. I think it was week 4. I think we had played 47 reps, and then the other defense played on the like 16 reps.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was against the not the Board Ape, the Glacier Boys.
Yeah, the Glacier Boys. I actually played the Glacier Boys again. This is my third time playing Jamil.
Yeah. So why don't you go into that a little bit? How is it facing Jamil? I hear he's one of the more difficult guys to guard.
Jamil, that's my guy. He is the best receiver in the league. I'm really not guarding Jamil the whole game. That'll have to be a question for Mike Lee. That's who really, you know what I'm saying? Like when we like in practice, Mike's like, I'm guarding Jamil this week. I just like, go ahead, bro. You can guard him. You got it.
Have fun.
Have fun, bro.
Yeah, a lot of people have called him the Wes Welker of the fan-controlled football league. What do you make of that comparison?
Wes Welker, I'll say Cooper Kupp.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Was Wes Welker fast?
He was at the beginning of his career. He was a kick returner, punt returner type
but
guy.
I would say he's like a Cooper Kupp mixed with like a Jerry Jeudy.
Okay. Oh man. Speaking of which, did you just hear the news that came out about Jerry Jeudy?
Who? Oh, you talking about somebody he got locked up?
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy got locked up for oh man, one of the most ridiculous reasons I've heard in a long time.
That's why I try to stay busy, bro.
That makes perfect sense. Unfortunately, that is the athlete life. When you have notoriety like yourself, if you get yourself in situations that can even be construed poorly, you might have not have even done anything incorrect, and yet at the end of the day, you could still end up in jail. And I think that's a perfect indication of what happened to Jerry Jeudy currently. But we won't get into that too much more. So we were talking about power-ups. You said you liked them. How do you approach it on a personal perspective? I know this. I think it was week 4. You had a personal power-up.
Yeah. So basically, when you get the personal power-up, say for example, it's a close game, and the other team scores, and they they make the 2-point conversion. I can say I want to use my power-up. I want to go against the person who just won. And if I win, they don't get the 2 points.
Interesting. Okay, so you walked into the game with the ability to use that at any point when you wanted, assuming they got a 2 point. So you walked into the game with the ability to do that whenever you wanted, assuming they were going for 2?
I think so. I believe so.
Interesting.
I think it's just every week.
Gotcha. Okay, so give me just a moment. We're going to play some highlights from week 4, actually. Here's a little bit of discussion about that exact power-up.
On the defensive side of the football, Quantez Stiggers, our man-up champion from this past Wednesday night. So keep in mind, he'll carry in that do-over opportunity. And then Fred Conyers, a veteran from Season 1.0, a key piece of this Glacier Boys attack as we are set.
All right, so they were kind of discussing that man-up opportunity. It is interesting to hear all these different power-ups that these guys have the ability to use. There's the flip the field, because you guys don't actually do punting or kicking in the league. How does the flip the field work for me?
So basically, flip the field is, I think we can start the ball on the 10-yard line. So basically, what I think is flip the field is where they go to the 10-yard line and they got, I think 5. If you're using the 5, then you got the 5 plays to score a touchdown. If you don't score a touchdown, the offense get the ball back.
Wow. The rules in this league are so hard to keep up with at some points. It's especially the draft rules. I have to seek that out every week to kind of figure out exactly who's allowed to be drafted, who's a franchise player. But it's fun. It adds a whole nother aspect to the game that I think is revolutionizing football, in my personal opinion. What do you make of the fan interaction with the game? Do you like being able to bring the fans into the game like they do? Is it a pain from a player's perspective? How do you view it?
So for me, I feel like a football game is not a football game without fans. If the fans are not there, then it's just going to be a dead stadium.
Yeah. that definitely we're seeing that right now in the USFL affecting the viewership quality, unfortunately. Did you consider the USFL at all, or was that kind of not in your viewpoint at that particular time?
Nah, not at that particular time. I feel like
Gotcha.
I feel like I took the right route.
I would agree. I would agree. I would think your performance on the field is definitely setting you apart from the league and definitely garnering you a lot of recognition you probably or maybe didn't have before that you probably deserved. Um, will we see? How do I want to word this? If you were in another league like the CFL or the NFL, and you didn't have to deal with the 1 yard rule, the various other power ups, and stuff like that kind of handicaps the defense, do you think we'd be seeing you perform at an even higher level, or is
Of
that
course,
something where really?
of course.
So
I haven't even got in my final form yet. I'm gonna turn up a notch Saturday. Y'all gonna see it. I'm gonna turn up a whole other notch.
really, so somehow you've got 6 turnovers and 2 touchdowns, I think, through 4 games, and you're going to turn it up another notch. Man, so I don't know if you've heard this yet, but I believe you are somewhere slated very high up in the MVP ranking for the league already. What do you make of that recognition in your rookie season?
Can you say that one more time?
I said you're pretty high up on the MVP ranking, potential MVPs of the league.
Yeah.
What do you make of that recognition as a rookie in your first season?
It's just it's a very fun experience because I know the guys like Marquise Kane, Marquil Osborne, Stybix Latham. Those guys are into their second year of FCF. It's just like battling out with those guys for the MVP is going to be very, 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 very fun.
Agreed. Agreed. There's a lot of good players in this league. If you're not paying attention, you should be because, man, it seems like every other week they're signing another former NFL guy, and they're not even the best player on the field a lot of times. So it's very interesting to see. At this point, I mean, you're competing with, as a defensive back, Terrell Owens, Terrence Williams, Martavis Bryant, and that's just off the top of my head. And like you said before, Jameel's probably the best wide receiver in the league, and a lot of people don't even know who he is if you don't watch the Fed Control Football League. So that just goes to show you.
Jamila's gonna be in the NFL next year.
Oh yeah, you think so?
I know so.
Hey, that's high praise. I mean, I think he has the ability to do it. I hope he gets the opportunity because it would be fun to watch. I think he could make it for sure if he's given the right opportunity. I think you could make it too, should you choose that as your next opportunity, which kind of brings me into my next question. What do you see yourself doing long term? Are you sticking with the FCF long term if they allow you to, or which I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't after this year.
Unfortunately, I can't answer that question like thoroughly, but I might stick it out with FCF for a couple years until like the NFL calls my name.
Gotcha. So on that note, would you recommend the FCF to young players who are looking to get their foot in the door in professional football? That
Of course, come on to the All Fun League. We'll love to have you.
I like how you put that, the All Fun League. We call the NFL the No Fun League, where celebrations and all that stuff is shunned. Watch a game with the FCF, man. It looks like those players are having a blast out there.
Like you can literally come to FCF and win $500 just for having the best celebration. Like come to the All Fun League. Come to FCF.
That is awesome. I was not aware of that. That's cool. So have you won the $500 prize yet?
Yep.
That's awesome. Which week did you get it?
I got it this week.
Really? Okay, I'll have to go back and check out your celebration. I don't think I caught it.
It was the 100-yard dash after the Boyd Apes touchdown.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. I might even have that. we'll see. So I'm going to play another highlight real quick. This is another one I threw together. It's just a couple FCF highlights. So that's the last highlight I have to play tonight, but there are a lot of them to choose from. Is that the celebration you were talking about?
Yeah, it's a celebration.
That's awesome. So you won $500 just for already winning the game.
Right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So just out of curiosity, maybe you can give me a little insight. If you don't want to talk about it, I am more than happy to pass on the question. How does the pay structure work for the FCF? Is it based on personal performance or is it a set rate?
Yeah, so basically they give us a player chart of so basically we're on a salary. So like for example, you got practice squad players on a salary, offensive players on the salary, defensive players on the salary. So it's just a range from I'm just give you a range from $0 to $1,000 a week.
Gotcha. That's interesting. How were you able to come in so quickly and seize a role as a rookie, even though you're the youngest player in the league?
My mindset is coming in. Like my mom always told me I'd be great. So it's just coming in with that mindset, knowing that I'm unstoppable.
That makes sense. Is it something you take pride in, having opposing offenses talk about how hard it is to face you?
Yeah, of course. It's an every week thing for me. Like some of my defensive players will be like, "Can you save me some interceptions, or can you save me some touchdowns, or can you save me some tackles?"
Interesting. That's interesting. So, just on your specific unit, are there any other guys you could pick out that have NFL caliber? I don't want you to single out any players, so if you don't feel comfortable picking out a few, that's perfectly okay.
Yeah. Mike Lee, Sam Brown, Charles Barnes, Cecil,
Definitely.
Stephen White, Jonathan McKay, Vaughn Hoskins, Tobias Cook, and it's another D lineman. So basically, everyone on the heavy hitters is NFL caliber.
It pretty much sounds like it. It seems like it too. I mean, a lot of times you guys are taking over the game when you're in there. We saw this past week Cecil Cherry, he had an interception and a sack, like you just mentioned. Then you had that fumble recovery and ultimate touchdown that won the game. I mean, your defense was the difference in that game. So it was fun to watch for sure. Do you take particular pride in the fact that you were able to win a game, given the fact that it's an offensive game?
Yeah, of course. Like, so when I score, the offense don't have to score. If I score, then we get a turnover, then that'll be the offense score, and then we'll be up, 16 points?
That's true. That's true. It's a quick way to swing momentum for sure. So you touched on it before. Your fumble recovery for a touchdown came right at the beginning of the comeback rule being instituted in your game against the Glacier Boys. We actually saw Chris Barrett come in for an injured Delvin Isidore, or everybody calls him Izzy.
Yeah.
So Chris ended up being able to throw 2 touchdowns. Talk about that final drive when you guys were able to stop them and ultimately seal the victory.
So basically, the touchdowns we gave up, it was because of miscommunication. So those, like, him coming into the game, we know that he hasn't had a lot of playing time. So it's just basically, if our D line gets pressure, then it's most likely, if he thought the ball is going to be an interception.
Gotcha. So basically, you guys were more focused on getting pressure than necessarily dropping in coverage at the particular moment?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, gotcha. That makes perfect sense. I would probably approach the situation in the same manner. Talk to me about your coaching staff in the FCF. How does the coaching work there? Do you guys have a regular, 10, 12 man coaching staff, or is it smaller given the fact that it's only 9-man football?
It's really not that many coaches. So on defense is 4 coaches, and I think on offense it's like, I think it's like 7 or 8 coaches.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can kind of break down defense to position groups a little bit more broad than you can in offense, but
Yeah.
that seems a little odd that you'd have such a swing on the offensive side. Are there any players, current or past players, that you model your game after specifically?
I would say Xavier Rhodes, Jalen Ramsey, Stephon Gilmore.
Gotcha. Interesting. Those are some good picks. Taller cornerbacks, more press style cornerbacks. So I see where you're going with that for sure. Philadelphia, if you're listening, just saying, right here, here's your guy. Going forward, are you looking to stick around in the FCF long term? I think we already kind of touched on this, but I mean, if an NFL team called you next week, hey, we want you to come in camp when the FCF season is over, are you packing your bags the second the season's done?
So I can't answer that question right now, but I'll have an answer for you next week.
Sounds good. I know that the FCF is currently making a very strong push to keep you guys in the league, which I think is incredibly smart on their part, because there's a lot of stars in this league, and I think if they keep them around, like yourself and others, Jamil's another one of the guys that we talked about, if they're able to keep guys like that in this league, the fan base is only going to continue to grow. So I hope that they're going to make it worth your guys' whiles to stick around, because a lot of you guys are probably going to be hearing your phone ring off the hook here soon, the way you're all playing. So I asked off camera. I'm going to bring it up one more time. Feel free to brush it off. I know I'm kind of harping on this one particular subject, but is the XFL showcase in your future if you do not get a call from an NFL team?
Unfortunately, I can't talk about that on camera. I'll text you on Twitter about that.
Okay, you're good. Like I said, FCF is making a strong push to keep these guys, so I definitely do not want to get you in hot water at all. At some point, I'm hoping to have Patrick Dees, one of the part co-owners of the league, on here. I've talked to him already, super cool guy. So I definitely do not want to push any of his talent out of the league. For sure, not you, because at this point, I think you're one of the premier talents in the league at that point. So, what are your long-term goals for your playing career and post-playing career? Are you looking at eventually being a coach, a scout, potentially an executive, maybe even a team owner with the FCF?
Um, I wouldn't necessarily say be a team owner for FCF. Like my goal in life is just to be wealthy throughout my generation and my child's generation.
Gotcha. Do you currently have a child?
Yeah, I have a 5-month-old.
Oh, very nice. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
I have a 9-month-old. So I feel you. We're right there together. So you don't see a future as an owner. What about a coach or a scout?
Um, Not necessarily an owner. Like before I be an owner, I'll be a coach.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, then. Well, I'm going to leave you with one last question before I let you get out of here. Once again, I appreciate you so much for coming on. I am going to leave you with this question. If you were the defensive coordinator tasked with putting you as a player in the best position to succeed, where are you playing? Are you strictly lining up against the number one receiver, or are you going to play a single high, line up in the box? I know you can do a little bit of everything.
So that question is going to be wide receiver 1 versus CB1. Me versus wide receiver 1.
Gotcha. So you're going to lock up that opposing receiver all game long, and then the other 8 guys on defense need to handle the rest of the guys, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I like that. So you're basically you want the biggest challenge on the field.
Exactly.
I like that. Well, definitely. Once again, Quantez, I appreciate you coming on, man. You have been a hell of a lot of fun to watch. I'm looking forward to seeing this weekend when you turn it up another notch. I didn't think you had anything left in you, no offense, but you have been balling out, man. It's shocking to hear that you say you have another level left. So I definitely will be tuning in to watch. Best of luck this weekend. And I hope to see you get another turnover and hopefully another $500 on your next touchdown celebration.
Thank you. Peace.
Have a great night, man. So once again, guys, that was Quantez Stiggers. If you did not catch the rest of this interview, please go check it out when it goes live on YouTube here shortly when I get off of here. I just want to throw out the fact that I reached out to Quantez a while ago. I think it was actually before the season started, and I was lucky enough to get him to agree to an interview. I didn't reach back out until a while later just because of everything that's been going on. It's been kind of a crazy couple weeks, month, whatever it's been. In the meantime, he's been killing it and just basically week after week making big play after big play after big play. And it was only a matter of time before it was just amazing to watch. And I mean, he's, like we said, he's the youngest player in the league, and right now he's in the MVP league voting. So if that's not enough to garner recognition with other leagues, then I don't know what is. I would be shocked if the NFL doesn't come calling, because at this point, this guy is 20 years old. He's playing against guys that have been or could be in the NFL right now and getting paid to do so. He's younger than a lot of guys who were just drafted into the NFL, were just selected in the first round. So why not take a chance on a guy like him that's 20 years old, has a year of professional football underneath his belt at this point, and will be done with his season long before the NFL season kicks off. I personally think he will be getting the call. It will be interesting to see how exactly the FCF talks him and other guys into sticking around, because there are a handful of guys in this league that will undoubtedly receive offers at a higher level. Like we mentioned before, Andrew Jamil is another guy that definitely will be getting looks. Another guy that I will be talking to coming up here shortly will be Cecil Cherry. He has had NFL offers in the past. He's one of the bigger school guys, and he is a hell of a player as well. And he is definitely a guy who should definitely be getting NFL looks at some point or another. And then also there's a few quarterbacks that are in this league that may get looks eventually. I I'm a personal fan of Eric Crouch, who's been in the league for a little while. There's also Chris Barrett, who I'm going to have on next week, although he's taken kind of an odd route and maybe doesn't have the interest that some of these other guys do, but he should, because he's a natural born leader. He came in and acted cool under pressure and nearly led the Glacier Boys to victory over Quantes Stiggers Board 8 Football Club last week. If it weren't for that fumble recovery and touchdown by Quantes, we very well could have been talking about a victory by Chris Barrett and the Glacier Boys, but we are not at this particular moment. It's just kind of how the things fell at that particular game, but that's one of the things that's fun about the Fan Control Football League is it's so much different on a play in and play out basis than the NFL or anything we've seen like it, with the power ups, the fans calling plays, the multiple different ways that the league has different rules, the removal of the kicking game, the one-on-one matchup for extra points. No matter how you look at this league, it's incredible to see how they're revolutionizing the game, because at the end of the day, I honestly think that they have staying power. We keep seeing more and more different entities drop money into this league to keep them going. They raised over $40 million prior to this past season. I would be willing to bet that they garner more recognition heading into season 3, because more and more sponsors are starting to see that this is a viable form of football. Fans are buying in more and more. They like the play calling aspect. They like the fact that they're able to vote on the draft picks. They like the fact that the team is basically built as the season goes on, and it kind of keeps parity throughout the league. And they like that they're able to vote and root for a specific team and even gain recognition themselves as fans. We've seen in the past couple weeks, maybe it was a thing last season. I don't know. I did not follow the league in year one. I know I missed out. I wish I had. But anyway, they actually rank fans based on your play calls. So if you go on their app, you call a play and you find success with that play, it goes on your ranking. If you call a play and they lose 8 yards and fumble the ball, that goes on your ranking too. And you get knocked or rated higher based on the play calls and the success of your play calls. Eventually, you might even get your name on TV like a couple fans did this past weekend during the game that we were just talking about. Depending on the club you play for and or you pick for, you might get up there fairly quickly. It just depends on how things go. More teams or certain teams have better fan bases in terms of play calling, or better reputations anyways. And it's very fun. It adds a whole different aspect to the game that the NFL would never even consider. And it's fun. It's really fun to watch. And I implore you, if you're one of those people that finds the NFL boring or that's stagnant, that not a lot has changed other than to make it a higher scoring game, which really hasn't changed a whole lot in the actual gameplay, you need to go check out the Fan Control Football League. I know it's Arena League football. I know that it's indoors, and a lot of people just can't get over that thought process. But I mean, just look at the production value when you're watching these highlights. You're talking about a camera and a situation where they put so much effort into a live broadcast in the actual fan experience that it's amazing to watch. So let's just take a quick look at the highlights like I brought up earlier. Watch how they light up the field, show the play that's called, and such.
Drop.
All right. So like I said, you definitely want to check out a fan control football game if you're on the fence about football in general at this point. It's a hell of a lot more exciting than the NFL product at this point, in my particular opinion. Brings the fans into the game. Download their app, call some plays, see how you are as a coach, see how you are as a roster builder as the season goes on, and most importantly, help support them get to season 3, because I personally cannot wait to see what they have in store for us next. We saw them go get Johnny Manziel in year 1. We saw them go get Terrell Owens, Martavis Bryant, and Terrence Williams in season 2. Who's going to come next? I suggested to co-owner Ray Austin Colin Kaepernick, and they started actually trying to pursue Colin Kaepernick. T.O. was out there campaigning to bring Colin Kaepernick to the league. Maybe they go reach out to Antonio Bryant. Or Antonio Brown, sorry, not Bryant. Antonio Brown. Maybe they bring back Josh Gordon, who was with the league in year 1. Maybe they go get a guy like Trent Richardson, or I don't know. There's so many different directions they could go with this. I mean, they've already taken it to the extreme by bringing back a player who's 48 years old in Terrell Owens. So it remains to be seen what they could do next. But I definitely will be staying tuned because of players like Quantez Stiggers and Chris Barrett and Trey Dante Hill and all these different guys that bring fans into the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to making this a new weekly event on Shady Sports Network. We are going to make Thursdays the new fan control football day of the week. So from now on, if you want to catch a little bit of fan control football news, or an interview, or a special contributor, what have you, involving the Fan Control Football League, check back here every Thursday. Go hit the like button on this video. Let me know that you want more Fan Control Football content coming at you in the future. And definitely don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell, because otherwise you're not going to know when I put out more Fan Control Football content in the future. But don't worry, we are not strictly going to be covering the FCF all the time. We'll still have USFL content. We'll still have NFL content. We'll still be covering the XFL as news comes out. We will be covering all sorts of leagues. So definitely make sure you continue to tune in. And thank you for Valor X77 and Dodger of Zion, who both say go Birds. That's right, go Birds. Huge Eagles fan. Thanks for popping in, guys. All of a sudden got a huge influx of viewers right as I'm about to shut off. So for all of you who just randomly joined me right as I'm about to get off, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, stick with me for future FCF content, NFL content, wherever it may be. No, actually, I do not live in Delaware Valley. I am out of Colorado. I live in Denver, Colorado. I am a born and raised Denver Broncos fan. I watched John Elway win back-to-back Super Bowls when I was a child, and I saw something in Donovan McNabb in his rookie or second year. I can't remember exactly which season I came aboard, but McNabb was the big reason I became a fan. If you look right there in the top over my left shoulder, sorry, I have a McNabb jersey. So yeah, I diehard Eagles fan. I've been watching them for over 20 years now. I continue to watch them every year despite the frustrating moves that come about. And thanks for tuning in, Dodger of Zion. I appreciate you finding the channel. So definitely follow us on Twitch, man. We don't have a whole lot of followers on there. I produce all kinds of content. Lots of interviews go out there. Everything we do live goes out there. That's kind of like the behind the scenes look. A lot of times the live stuff doesn't go out on YouTube. So definitely looking forward to having more followers on there. Also check out Rocco McSweet's channel. I will definitely have to get his channel linked in the description on both of these videos so you can check him out in the future. But as always, I appreciate all the support, guys. Please, as I said before, make sure to hit the like button. I cannot stress how important it is to me as a YouTube creator to get that like button pushed by every viewer. Whether you know it or not, that pushes me out in the algorithm. It brings in more ultimate viewers to the channel. I don't only produce, content on one football league. So I'm trying to kind of cater to anybody who likes football. If you like arena football more than you like outdoor game, I got you covered. If you like the outdoor game only, I got you covered. Whether it's the USFL, the XFL, the NFL, IFL, NAL, FCF, we're covering them all. Even a little bit of European League of Football and Canadian Football League from time to time, because I cover those as well. If you're not aware, I write for the News Hub group, CFL News Hub, USFL News Hub, and XFL News Hub. We also cover the FCF, the ELF. That's where a lot of these interviews ultimately end up being posted, is on the News Hub groups. You can also catch us at shadysports.wordpress.com. That's where we post all kinds of stuff, whether it's polls, questions, articles, videos. We've got a podcast on Spotify and Chrome or Colorcast. So if you've got Apple, check out Colorcast. You can even join us, give us your hot takes sometimes. We do a weekly USFL podcast on there. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll be making Thursdays Fan Control Football Thursdays going forward. I know it should have been Fridays, but I digress. Anyway, it'll be one of these fun things moving forward. And somewhere in there, we'll make sure we fit in plenty of NFL content for you guys that just cannot get enough of it. Dodger of Zion, my community bleeds green, garnet, and black. I'll send them my way, buddy. I would love to have any and all Eagles friends, family, and fans support my channel as well. And I'll make sure to check you out, get you a follow on Twitch, and see what you got to talk about as well. Maybe, if you're interested, we can talk about potentially doing a collab video down the road. But we'll talk about that in the future. If you did not catch the beginning of this interview, please do me a solid and go watch it on YouTube or rewatch it on Twitch when I get off of here. It means a lot to me, all the support. And please, please, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I'm fairly new at this. We've only been doing it for about 6 months now, and I'm still fairly small in terms of size of audience, so I definitely need all the help I can get when it comes to that like button and that subscribe button. And hopefully I can continue to bring content that you actually want to listen to. And if I'm not, let me know in the comments below. I'm always open to suggestions, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you guys watching. So continue to watch, continue to tell me what you want to hear about, continue to suggest things in the comments, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you see me. I appreciate all the support. Definitely make sure you hit me up. We'll talk some football. Maybe I'll even get you on the channel one day. We'll see how things go. But that's all I've got for you guys tonight. Hope you had a great night. Hope you enjoyed this one. And tune in next week for my interview with Chris Barrett, Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. And like I said, going forward, we're going to make this more of a regular thing. Every Thursday night, we're going to have somebody on from the Fan Control Football League. And I'm hoping that you guys enjoy the next guest the next week, quarterback Chris Barrett. And then maybe down the line, I will announce the next guest I've already lined up that is also from the Fan Control Football League. But for now, I'm going to keep that one close to the vest. Maybe I'll announce it next week. But what's up, everybody? This is Sam. To see exactly who that is. But here's the obligatory sponsor plugs for those of you still sticking around. So if you want to support the channel even more, here's a way to do so. Shady Sports Network. I wanted to take a moment out and thank the sponsors that are helping keep this channel going. In case you haven't caught it, Shady Sports Network has teamed with SeatGeek to provide you with our very own discount code SAMSHADY. Using this code at checkout will save you $20 on every purchase. Whether you're attending a football game, concert, or other sporting event, chances are SeatGeek will offer the best deals for the event you are hoping to attend. Big shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video and all my other content on YouTube, as well as the articles I write. Companies like this are helping channels like mine, grow, and continue to progress as content creators, in turn helping you bring more consistent and better content. So please go check out SeatGeek today, and remember to use my code SamShady at checkout to save $20. Also helping sponsor channel is eBay Sports. eBay Sports is your one-stop shop for all things sports. Whether you're after trophies, collectibles, apparel, or more, it's sports related. Go check out my special link in the description below to help support Shady Sports Network in our quest to continue growing and providing you with more sports coverage and better quality content in the future. Amazon Music is yet another partner of Shady Sports Network. I personally have been using Amazon Music for several years due to the fact that it does not require you to have solid service to listen to the music that you want to listen to. This was particularly useful in my past career where I was working inside a warehouse 12 to 16 hours a day, depending on the day. This kept me sane for many years because I was able to listen to the music that I wanted to without interruption in a place that was otherwise very, very boring if I didn't have the music. So once again, click on my link below in the description to join Amazon Music and find all the benefits that you can find on that app in particular. I personally have several music apps, but Amazon Music is my go-to because of the fact that you do not need the service. You don't get interrupted when you're in the middle of a song. It doesn't just cut out because you randomly lose service when you're walking around a building, which drives me nuts. But on to our last sponsor of the day, and this is less a sponsor, more an app I just support and happens to provide cash back to those who support it. GetUpside is an app that I have been touting for a while because it will quite literally pay you cash back to purchase gas at participating gas stations. The app is extremely user-friendly and points you to the nearest deal and lists out several so you can find the most cash back. This app is great for those who travel often, but still useful for those city drivers who don't drive too far from home because at the end of the day, it's cumulative. So you can't actually take cash back until you hit $10 without taking a fee, but you add up $10 so fast it's not even funny. I think you basically build up $10 off like 2 or 3 fill-ups, and you take that cash and immediately goes in your account within 2 to 3 days typically, and there are no catches, none whatsoever. There is no reason why you shouldn't be using this app at this point in time. It saves you money, puts money back in your pocket. It can be used at gas stations, grocery stores, restaurants, and several other things are coming down the pike in ways that I'm not even familiar with at the moment. You can use my code SAM363682 to help support Shady Sports Network today and earn yourself some extra cash back on your first purchase. This is one of those things where if you use this app and you use my code, for every gallon of gas you purchase, you're actually going to be continuing to support the channel. And this is not only helpful to me, but hopefully if you stick with us and you watch the videos that come out following this, you'll only continue to see an improvement in quality of this content, and hopefully see more content coming down the pike. Unfortunately, at this particular point, this is not a full-time position for me, but as this starts to grow and gain an audience, I'm looking to transition this into a bigger part of my life. I would love to have you guys on board. So do me a favor, check out these 4 sponsors that are doing everything they can to help keep Shady Sports Network afloat and keeping us produce content for you guys in the future. Again, check out GetUpside, Amazon Music, eBay Sports, and SeatGeek today to help support Shady Sports Network. Now, back to the content.